Ministry's hard. Forgiveness is just as hard, if not harder. So I'm having a hard time forgiving this person. It's beyond forgiveness. I think that I honestly, if I could see this person, would probably punch him in the face. As a Christian, as a man who loves God, I'm confessing and admitting that I would likely physically attack this particular person who schemed, scammed, and conned me and my family and my dead father. Then he had the audacity to call my wife names and my dead father a name because I blew up on him. His customer service for running a business is trash at best. That's giving him a compliment. This is a bad human being. If you go look at his profile and his reviews online, it's one after another of this guy just talking to people like they're trash and garbage. He doesn't care about the customer. He cares about himself. I seen one article or one review where someone wrote who was an ex-employee and they exposed him. This is somebody who would have been intimate with him and knew him because they worked with him, saying what kind of person he was and how he's not trying to fulfill orders. My dad ordered something and it was his dream to receive it before he died, after he was diagnosed with end-stage heart failure. And if you know anything about end-stage heart failure, it's end-of-life heart failure. It means your heart is definitely going to give out. They cannot get you a replacement. They can't put you on a donor list because of other health issues. So my dad was basically sentenced, not from doctors, but just because of his heart. His heart sentenced him to a life to where he only had 1 year left to live. And he eventually died within that year. And me and him got to spend a lot of time together. It was a beautiful thing. But one of his dreams was to receive this particular thing that my wife actually ordered for him, and we never did receive. So all these years later, my dad's been dead for a little over 2 years now. Or no, this January makes 2 years. He'll be dead, have been passed away, and he never received this particular thing that he had wanted to receive before his life. He wanted me and him to work on this together, and we never had a chance to. He had to buy something else that was cheaper to supplement what we never got so he could at least mess with it and enjoy doing it. And he got to mess with it, but nowhere near as much as he should have. This thing should have arrived within a couple months. And my dad lived from about a year after we made this order, roughly. And he never had a chance to enjoy it. And this guy called my father, dead father names, and he threw it back on me. Then he tried to say that the only reason he was disagreeing with me on what I called my father. Think about the absurdity in that. Why would any son call their dead parent a name whom they loved? I'm not estranged from my father. He didn't, he wasn't the best dad. All dads have flaws and make mistakes, but my dad loved me. We had a good relationship. He did his best. And he's somebody I honor. And this is something that we do as Christians. Honor your mother and father and it'll go well with you. And I believe that. That's why I honored my mother and father throughout their lives as I became a mature Christian. And it did go well for me. And no matter what mistakes they made, it was still a requirement by God for me to honor my mother and father. It's also a requirement to love and pray for your enemies and those who despitefully use you, like this man schemed and scammed me and my family. It was a monetary value of about $800 to $1,000. And it's not the price itself that most upsets me. Because in life, the longer you live, the likelihood of you getting scammed is just a reality. Most of us are going to get scammed at some point in our lives. But we got scammed from a so-called business that's legit. Then he claims his business is legit. But he calls us slurs. And when my wife finally texted him today, he responded by calling her a meth head. Keep in mind, my wife has never used drugs in her life. She's probably one of the only people I know who's never used an illegal drug. Even growing up, she just didn't do it. Wasn't interested. And then I know my wife is a good woman. She's just trying to find out what happened and so we can get closure and clarity on why we didn't receive what we ordered through this person. And I'm being honest and speaking as a Christian on Chief Sinner Ministry. And while you're at it and you're listening to the story, and if it's moving and touching you in any kind of way and you're gaining something from it, take a moment to like and subscribe to Chief Sinner Ministry. I haven't posted in a while because it's hard for me to post. Sometimes because I feel like I'm not being the best Christian I can be. And this is me being honest with you, telling you right now, I don't feel like the best Christian. I'm not to the point to where I feel like I'm going to do anything stupid. I just feel like that it still feel good with what this man did to my father and how he dishonored and called him names. And he's 10 states away. It's not like I can do anything about it, right? Of course I could, but I'm not. I'm going to drive 10 states away or catch an airplane. It's not worth me losing my freedom and destroying what I've built to be a better man. And my mother and father, who have both passed away, my mother also has passed away, they are, proud of what I've become as a man and who I've become as a man. So I can't go back and do the same things that I used to do. I can't react that way. I had to build who I am today, and it took a long time to do it. And it can all be lost in a moment. And we have to be mindful. That's why we have to be planted in the word, planted in our scripture, planted in the prayer closet. And that's why sometimes it's difficult. Because when people talk about your father who passed away and your wife, who is the most important person to any man who's married, right? Because you leave your mother and father and you cling to your wife and you shall become one flesh. She is also a part of who I am. And for him to dishonor her like that just boils me up. And he's way on the other side of the country. And he's doing it behind keyboards. And he said it on the phone when I spoke to him, and he did it through clicks on text messages. When he dishonors your wife, when he dishonors my wife, he's dishonoring me. Then he dishonored my father. I don't care what kind of names he calls me, but once he starts calling them names, see, I didn't call anybody his father. I dealt directly with him when I called and talked to him. I told him I thought he was a disingenuous man and not honest. And I thought he was a scammer and schemer. I told it to his face. He could have called me whatever he wanted. But to call my father a name, that was a problem. And I'm going to work on it. I don't feel like I have this eternal rage that's going to last forever, that I won't be able to forgive this guy ever. That's not the case. I'm not going to lose sleep behind him. But if I seen him, if he was in the same room, I'm not sure how it would turn out. And that's being honest. Can we be honest as Christians? We don't have to always present a false image of ourselves. And that's the problem. I love Jesus. I love God. I'm a fake Christian. I'm a real Christian. I walk out my faith with fear and trembling. I fear the Lord. The Lord's the only one who hasn't turned his back on me. God's the only one who hasn't turned his back on me. The ministry comes and goes. God, he's forever. Heaven and earth will pass away, but his word will never pass away. So you have to rely on the word when I feel like I feel today. I got to rely on the word when I feel like I can't get it all together. I have to rely on the word when the anger re-rises up. I have to rely on the word when I feel violence. I have to rely on the word when I feel in my mind questioning what decisions I made that were wrong. I can't start going back into the past. We can learn from the past, but we can't let the past rule us. Should we have done a better job on researching who we were buying a product from? Sure. But you can't let that beat you up so much to where you're letting it weigh you down. You have to move past it and move past it quick. You live, you learn. And with God, all things are possible. So yes, I'm going to get past this. I've already gotten past it, but it just came back up today. And I don't like this man. I don't like this human. And he's definitely a bad person. This isn't like somebody who's just having a moment. This guy operates as scum. That's just a realistic term. When you scheme and scam and con people and lie to them and lead them on and then try to cover yourself to act like you did the right thing and you know you were wrong, this dude got problems. I know we all got problems. I know I'm not perfect, but I don't try to treat people bad. This is me just talking as a Christian. That's what Chief Center Ministry has to offer. Honesty and authenticity. And that's what we're going to bring. We're not perfect. And I don't think any Christian is. I've come to that point in my life where every pastor I hear preach, and they got some good ones who I know are on fire for God, who I can say are, in my opinion, they are real. They doing business with God. They're in the prayer closet. They're preaching the truth from the pulpit. But nobody's perfect. Even they get it wrong. They got some, even though I don't necessarily like some of the things that they say or the way that they say it, I'm like, yeah, they telling the truth. That's God's servant, right? I'm all for that. we don't need our ears tickled. We need to stand for righteousness. And you know what? I was wrong today. And I hope that I can give you, the viewer, the truth and the authentic person on who I am as I lead Chief Center Ministry into 2025. Thanks for watching. Give me a like, subscribe, and please go back and check out some of the other videos that me and my wife have posted. Thanks.